Quentin, bring your energy up. Come
Dude,
on.
I just don't know if I have it this week.
Do the intro.
Hey, GM1 Fantasy League. Welcome to week 7 of Mind Your P's and Q's NFL podcast. Colts are so good.
Hit it. And we are back with another episode of the Mind Your P's and Q's NFL podcast. It is your trusted co-host, Patrick McNitch, alongside the lovely, the effervescent as always,
Love
Quentin
that word.
Flora.
So great.
Quentin, how you doing?
Fantastic. Doing fantastic.
Really didn't sound like it
Nope.
a second ago.
I mean, it's all false confidence here.
We have had, I thought last week was just a wacky, wildly week of the NFL.
It was.
This was by far the weirdest week of NFL football so far. We had 2 huge injuries to Leonard Fournette and Aaron Rodgers, and just, if our weekly pick'em is any indication, this was a upset city type game. It was
Which I'm
nuts.
glad you're saying that, since we'll find out later that I didn't pick very many correct.
Well,
We'll find out later. We'll talk about it.
We will jump into our first segment, as always. My favorite segment, Hawks Talk. This week on Hawks Talk, Seahawks are playing the Giants. That concludes this week's episode of Hawks Talk, and we will move over to Quentin's Colts Corner.
Well,
you can breathe. First of all, breathe.
Last week, I said that I didn't say if, I said when the Colts are up at halftime and they end up losing it in the second half, I'm going to bring stats in for our next episode. Well, folks, buckle up, because I'm a stats guy. I like stats.
Throw it on mute for a few minutes with a snooze vest.
Quick stats. Quick ones here. Now, you've probably, if you're on Twitter, Facebook, if you're any type of social media or anything, you've probably seen this stat.
Not even letting everybody know what the score of the game was.
No,
who the Colts
because
played.
You guys all know. You all know what happened. Y'all know what happened. Okay? I'm not going to go into the fact that they just blew another second half lead. Okay. This year, so far, the Colts have 44 points in the second half. Their opponents have 126 points in the second half.
So is that not good, or?
Give or take a few points. In the first half, Colts have 75. For their opponents, 69. Stop the game. Let's stop the game. I'm making a widespread email to Roger Goodell and the rest of the league saying that second quarter is the end of the game now. The game needs to quicken up anyway. So let's just stop it in the second quarter.
Hold on a second.
Colts are all of a sudden.
This is not the solution to their problem.
Yes. This is the only solution I can find, because apparently a whole new team shows up in the second half. Literally 10-year-olds steal their jerseys at second half, drug them, and come back out on the field to play the second half.
Now, I want people to be just clear. First of all, I know we're in Colts Corner, but I'm going to have a lot of input here, as Hawks Talk was cut short by lack of nothing from last week during our bye week. But when you say there's actually a different team, there might be people out there listening like Dylan thinking, like, are you fucking telling me the Monstars take over in the second half? No, that's not the case.
No.
There's not anyone stealing the Colts' powers. I just want to know for all of our avid listeners.
Very avid listeners, yes.
That is not what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. Here's the thing. We talked about it a moment ago. Take out the Rams game, because in the Rams game, it was Scott Tolzien, and we just got absolutely obliterated the entire game. Scott Tolzien just was throwing more touchdowns to the other team than he was our own.
And take out the Seahawks, because that ended up being a thrashing. I get that it was in the second half.
But they played really well in the first half of that Seahawks game. Really well.
Yeah.
And you put in the Cardinals game, in the Titans game, both where they lost, they're winning that game at halftime. In the Cards game, they're winning it 10-3 at halftime. In the Titans game, they're up 13-9 at half. And both of them, they end up losing.
And they're up by double digits in the second half against the Cardinals.
Yes.
So you're looking at two games, like that game against the Titans and the game against the Cardinals, where the Colts easily could be 4-2.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, the Browns and the 49ers game both weren't good either.
No.
Weren't good.
No.
We took the 49ers to overtime. That's embarrassing in itself right there. But after all this, that game last night hurt the most because that was a huge game. I mean, that is an AFC South game. If we would have won that, we'd come home to play the Jaguars next weekend, have a little bit of a high, and win that game. All of a sudden, we're at the top.
You guys are 3-3. You're tied for the lead in the division if you win last night.
And coming home to play the Jaguars next, who are also 3-3.
And you're looking at hopefully bringing Andrew Luck in as your quarterback at some point in your future.
Yes.
It's basically like you could have skated by playing bad the first 6 games and still came out 500.
If we would have won last night, I would have had a lot of belief in the fact that something good could come out of this year. But that loss last night almost takes it away completely. Because now we're dead last in the AFC South, which is not saying much because they're 2-3 compared to everyone else who's 3-3. But you have the Jaguars next, then you have the Bengals and Texans. The Bengals, that has to be a win. Absolutely has to be a win. The Texans, I can understand if you lose that game because they're playing real well. Right. Especially against the 32nd ranked defense of the Colts, who are letting teams put up numbers.
I have a hard time seeing Deshaun Watson not tearing up your secondary just because they have let up so many. I think the stat last night was most passing plays of 25 yards or more have occurred against the most against any team. So.
And we're extremely young in the backfield. There's rookies back there, and they're playing really well, but those big plays are all happening in the second half. Every single time. They're letting up these huge plays in the second half. The 72-yard run by Derrick Henry last night to just twist the knife was when the drinking really started happening.
So here's what I'll ask you as an avid Colts fan watching every play, and I've honestly watched more Colts this year as more than I have in any other
because
season.
Of the pick'em, I think, right? Yeah.
My question to you is, what do you think the issue is in the second half? Is it guys literally not... Are they tired? Is it bad coaching? Is it bad play calling? What do you think the reason is that the second half collapses are just continuing over and over again?
It has to come down to coaching. Because your players can't just play so well in the first half and then come out and look like they have no plan, they have nothing. The biggest issue is the playbook shrinks. They go into like a prevent defense, huge prevent defense. They go into this offense that they're just trying to like check down, run up the ass of the right guard, and that's all they're doing. And I will say, we came out and had 3 straight 3-and-outs to start the second half against the Titans last night. And Jacoby Brissett really looked bad. So something happened with him that he all of a sudden just couldn't throw the ball. But other teams go into halftime and make adjustments to now come out and beat you. You have to make adjustments so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's the problem.
It's like they have a good game plan going in because they're in all the games up until halftime either winning or close, and then in the second half it's just Chuck is just stuttering and lisping his way into another loss.
You just remind me. Here's a wonderful, wonderful quote I heard from Chuck Pagano, and this will be the last thing at Colts Corner here. Chuck Pagano said, Marlon Mack, we really need to figure out a way to get Marlon Mack the ball more. He had 2 carries. One of them was 20 yards. The other one ran right into the back of the right guard, and he fell down. Didn't fall down. It wasn't a butt fumble, but it was a bad play. You are the head coach. You're the head coach. Don't tell me that you need to get him the ball more as if you're like me and you sitting here talking, and you're like, I think Marlon Mack should get the ball more. It's like, yeah, Chuck, we all agree.
You are the decision maker when it comes to that.
We've all been saying this for the last 5-6 games since he got back.
Unless, like we talked about last week, Chuck is not actually the decision maker. The plays are coming in from the owner's press box, and Jim is making those calls. Take a line, Jim, and for God's sake, Pat McAfee is not on the team. We cannot run a fake punt pass on first down every single time. We're going to shut your headset off pretty soon.
I gotta. Let's stop Colts Corner there, because that's about the best it's gonna get.
Sounds good.
All right, that's the end of Colts Corner. Let's go ahead and get right into our first advertisement.
This is Dylan Crosley, head golf professional at fucking Fall Creek Golf Course in Pendleton, Indiana. We've had a successful 2017 summer season, averaging 4 golfers a day, and I've spent 85,000 hours on YouTube throughout the summer. I'd like to tell you about what we're going to do in the winter months. We'll be closing the course up here shortly, but I've taken the liberty upon myself to transform the clubhouse into a massage parlor. Now, I ain't gonna have none of them chinks in here rubbing on you. It's just gonna be me, Dylan fucking Crosley. Got essential oils, lotions, and everything else to make you feel real nice. Now, same rule goes for the T-box gals. Any girls with tits bigger than C, D, Triple E, I tell you what, I'll go forwards and backwards for you. Once again, Dylan Crosley. Please come out to fucking Fall Creek in the wintertime. Happy endings are optional. Alright, this brings us into our Week 6 fantasy recaps. I will start off with my game as always. Rawls of Fury defeating from DeWindo to DeRalls, a matchup of the Rawls named teams. I defeated Brian 99-93, and this honestly was the only actual close game in the entire league last week. Mostly everything else was blowouts. Won by 6 points, and can I just say, what a pickup of Carson Palmer. That's a lot of faith in a team that got ramrodded the week prior.
Especially since you've been saying for 3 straight weeks that he's some kind of old man with a cane, and then all of a sudden you sneakily pick him up and play him. That's
a little
good.
Bit of news in fantasy. I made a trade with Matt Miller. Young hoes ain't loyal. I traded Ty Montgomery, tie for tie. Yep. I traded Ty Montgomery to him for T.Y. Hilton. I was kind of set at running back and needed a strong receiver.
Understatement.
Okay, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
Devontae Freeman, Kareem Hunt, and LeGarrette Blount is his literally
was
his
my fourth
third.
Because I had to.
Yeah, because you had Ty Montgomery. Yeah. So yeah, you were good.
T.Y. Hilton was a pretty huge disappointment. 1 catch for 19 yards. He was just completely disappeared in that game.
Didn't touch on that in Colts Corner, but that angered me.
Yeah.
You took your 2 best players out of that game. Marlon Mack and, hey, Colts
Kareem
Corner,
Hunt,
welcome back.
Kareem Hunt has a season-low 13.5 points for me. Still had over 100. Still had 100 yards from scrimmage. I'll get more of this later when I discuss some coaching issues I had around the NFL, but Devontae Freeman had 69 rushing yards, or 68 rushing yards, on 9 carries.
That's insane. Why does he not have the ball 25 times? He was averaging
over 5 yards carry. So I'll get into more of that later, but my team didn't play great. I'll be honest. I'm still in second place with only 1 loss, but Brian's team was worse than me by 6 points. And he had Mike Evans had a very nice game, Jay Ajayi, but CJ Anderson. I'll let you take a little moment to
I just got to say it. CJ Anderson, you're not going to do it this year. This is not your year. I have two things. I'll carry that C.J. Anderson thing out to the rest of time.
I don't know. I'm not going to bet against you, but I like your hot take because we get to revisit C.J. Anderson every single week.
It started off as a real cold take and is now slowly becoming a hot take just because he could just break it off at any moment.
For me, I get to play Steeler Virginity next week, so I'm looking forward very much to playing DK.
We all are.
A matchup I've really looked forward to. But Brian loses another game, and we'll just jump back into...
He's on a 4-loss streak.
Yeah, that's not
I didn't want that to go by without saying it.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
L4 is never a positive thing next to your name.
Never.
The next game of the week, we have Steeler Virginity, DK DeLong against Fairies and Queries. Dylan freaking Crosley. DK wins this one 150-115 practically.
150 That's having
a freaking back-to-back games from Melvin Gordon.
That's big. And Jordan Howard finally he had a couple bad games there, but he showed up.
He has 18 points with 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, I
think he had somewhere the Bears must have rushed the ball 40 sometimes in that game.
It doesn't seem like they are completely putting the trust in Trubisky. Like they're just like, hey,
no,
Jordan,
obviously not.
Tariq Cohen, can you guys both just kind of carry this team a little bit for a while? They are.
Yeah.
They strapped up and they did it.
And another great play by DK with Jerick McKinnon. Can I just say, I think we all thought that when Latavius Murray went there to the Vikings, like he was either going to be the number 1 or number 2 to Dalvin Cook, and he is just like they're like I don't know if he's just not good enough or what, but
he did this kind of thing last year where he had like a stretch of like 4 games where it's like, okay, who is this kid, McKinnon? Where it was just like he's a clear starter every single game, and then disappeared. I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but I remember seeing that before.
Yeah. And DK, obviously, with a nice play of the Texans. Anybody that's, if you're playing against Cleveland, you're going to have a great defensive performance. And Dillon obviously didn't have a bad game at 115, but you're just not going to compete with DK. I don't even know. His running back, E. McGuire, I would have to look his name up to even know who that is. Elijah.
I can tell what he did. Because one of the news things when you click on him is the fact that the running back before him got hurt. Bilal Powell was out. My wonderful, wonderful friend and soon to be other co-host, I believe we'll bring him in because he's injured so much. I think that's why you played Elijah McGuire from. Where did he come from?
All 4 of Dillon's receivers had a nice game. Even his bench with Jarvis Landry, all 4 of them were above 14 points.
Yeah.
The one thing we kind of are going to be on the lookout with Dillon's team is Ezekiel Elliott. That's kind of be the make or break thing for Dillon because he got really nice receivers, but if you're playing a guy with a last name of McGuire at running back
for the New York Football Jets,
we don't really know what's going to happen with Ezekiel Elliott, so that'll be definitely interesting for Dillon to see. And DK had some good bench players, so I think it was just DK's week to beat everybody. Moving on to the next game, we got Young Hoes Ain't Loyal against Cousins Are Eli's Forte. Matt beats Adam 128-91. Another 30-plus point victory here. And Matt does it with Jameis Winston scoring 2 points.
Obviously he got hurt, and, that is hard to see. Because who does he have as his backup?
No one.
Yeah. That's my issue is that who knows how long Jameis Winston's going to be out. If I'm making a suggestion to Matt, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's available. All of a sudden he comes in
back Carson Palmer, so feel free.
All of a sudden he comes back in the 4th quarter and has 27 points.
I got a couple alerts on my phone before the podcast, and this week Carson Palmer has put tennis balls on the bottom of his walker for more mobility during practice. So that
ESPN is really keeping up with those.
That could definitely be an option. Okay, we talked about this for a second before the podcast, but I feel horrible for Adam in the respect that Coby Fleener, the Saints score 52 points, and Coby Fleener has 0 points, 0 catches. He didn't get hurt.
As a Colts fan, very happy to see that. That he is no longer on the squad.
You guys left on tough terms.
Yes, for sure. But happy he's not there anymore. And Sammy Watkins surprises me. How does he not get in the game and play?
He's in the game. Here's the thing. I've watched the Rams a few times.
All
the only routes they throw to Sammy Watkins are 20-plus yard passes. So it's either a deep ball or like a long post or something. Or besides that, it's Cooper Kupp, Tavon Austin, and Robert Woods all over the short yardage.
I don't know how you don't get a player like that who has that much talent. How do you not get him in the game? How do you not get him
involved?
You
mean like T.Y. Hilton?
Yeah, pretty much. Your number 1 receiver, one of the top 5 receivers.
We're gonna talk about the Colts for a little bit. We're gonna take a breather from them.
This episode's gonna be titled Colts Corner.
Well, besides that, again, Adam's defense was his leader in points. And that's an L3 next to his name.
Yeah, that's an L3.
You've got a full bench. We expect big things from you coming up. But good win by Matt.
Yeah. Let's get into this game. Because we have lots of things to say to you, Mitch.
This dude just took his shirt off. He's going streaking up the quad.
He is miles. He's miles ahead of my streak.
I was actually going up to your game next. The Great Cookie Traders.
Oh, okay.
Taking on Tequila Mecklenburg. And you just...
We're streaking.
That's why I said take the shirt off. Yeah. He's going through the quad. This dude
absolutely.
is...
0-3 to start. I'm going to repeat that every time.
You got that dub 3 next to your name right now.
3-0. And it's not going to stop. It's not stopping.
And I'm not sure. You and Nate both are 3-3, but he's in 5th and you're in 7th. I think we have the tiebreaker situation going on there. I think it's done by most points scored, so I think that's why you're technically in 7th. But a win this week, you might jump right up there.
I'm not worried about like most points right now. Not yet. It's too early in the season.
Why worry about that in fantasy?
Yeah, never. I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried about getting every single win from here on out.
Well,
because here's the thing. My number one problem that I have with my team, I had to play Watson because Charles Clay was hurt and on a bye. Yeah. So that's going to be an issue in the upcoming week. But if Mike Gillislee, why couldn't someone take him from me at the beginning of the year? I told everyone.
This is the reason why.
This is the reason. I know it was. Like, I couldn't trick anyone in the league. Not a single person to be like, yeah, blah, blah. He had that awesome game 1. Week 1.
That's when you needed to really sell
high. I was trying so hard to sell high. No one was having him. No one. And I guess kudos to the rest of the league because they knew what was coming. Because I did too. I knew this was coming.
Because they have Dion Lewis and James White.
And they're the Patriots.
And they throw the ball every possession.
So it just doesn't... having a running back... I would have never drafted him if I didn't auto-draft this year.
Let's talk about your flex player in this game.
Let's not. Okay, go ahead.
At 12:57.
This is ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous because it's facts.
No, it's not. Oh my gosh.
It is facts.
Here, let's just explain
At 12:57, I text you and go, "What are you doing? Why are you playing Marlon Mack in your flex over Adrian Peterson?" And once again, this is just a thing I have to do on a weekly basis to keep your team in line.
Oh my gosh.
Should we say I get a portion of the credit for the 3-game win streak?
This is all crap. All crap.
No, I had the text to prove it. There's timing on those.
I know, I get that 100%. But here's the whole thing about it.
We're all waiting for the explanation.
I was sitting in front of my computer making changes to my team when you texted me. It was like, "Hey, why are you doing this?" Like, I'm not. I'm making the change right now.
Yeah. Did you want to wait until like?
I did. I waited a long time to actually make my changes that I was making. You can look. I added
all I'm saying is
I added Watson.
If I don't make the call,
that's ridiculous.
You are literally 24 points lower using Marlon Mack instead of Adrian Peterson.
And I still win this game.
And Nate might push a little bit. His heart might get him a little more. And all I'm saying is you have me to thank.
Ridiculous. Can we have to do this because we said it last week.
Ryan Suckup. I just noticed a kicker down there, so we got.
Now here's the thing: that's Tennessee against the Colts.
That had to break your heart.
No. I was so stoked because the Tennessee offense kept driving down and getting absolutely demolishing the defense in the first half, and then the defense would just pick it up and stop them in the red zone every single time, or like from the 40-yard line and in. Would just stop him, and he just kept kicking field goals, and I'm like, hey. We're in this. We're in this game.
It's a win-win. You're getting points.
Exactly. I was stoked. But then...
Looking at Nate's team, he's got 3 quarterbacks. You got to let either Roethlisberger or Breeze go at some point, I would think, to get a position player. Yeah. Deshaun Watson has got to be his just consistent start.
You have to at this point. I mean, you
division,
couldn't give me a reason.
If you're playing the Colts defense twice a year, and you're playing who's the other?
The Jaguars. The Jaguars defense looks good, but the Titans defense is
spotty.
Suspect. Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson put up how many touchdowns against the Chiefs, so he can pretty much do it against anyone. It seems like.
Yeah. Again, he has to give you an absolute reason not to start him right now.
That was a game for Cleveland to play against him and go, hey guys, this is the guy you passed on twice in the draft.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I don't
front
know.
office.
Yeah. Somebody. I feel like they fire people every year.
Most places do.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the Browns just like, oh gosh, we got a clean house. It's like, yep, 2016, 2017, 15, 14.
Every year your house is spotless.
Yes.
It's clean.
It's very clean, but you aren't bringing in the right people, obviously.
Zach Ertz with 2 touchdowns for Nate. Steelers defense put up a nice game, but his position players really just laid some goose eggs for the most part. Tevin Coleman, fuck you for taking a touchdown from Devontae Freeman. That is my player. So good win for Quentin. You are streaking, as we said. What positions you guys are in? You're back to 3-3, and you could potentially break over the 500 mark this week, going against
Berries and Fairies. Super excited because I won't talk too much trash.
This is the game where I get a little upset. Okay, we have O'Doyle rules Mitch against forgetting Brandon Marshall, John Radersdorf.
John, you didn't mess up. Okay?
Mitch wins 111-79. Okay. Mitch is in first place, alone at 6-0. He continues to play defense in fantasy. Somehow he is defending the other team from picking up fantasy points. John, 79 points? Come on.
Playing Andre Ellington was wrong because he hasn't scored points.
Who else was he going to play on his bench? He didn't.
You go pick someone up. You can't.
The guy from Green Bay, I guess.
Something, because I think he was hurt before this game. I might be wrong, but he has had 10, 14, and 10 in the last 3 weeks before this. But I'm almost certain he was hurt.
This is a game where you have to look at it and say the trade that was made. And John, we'll be honest with the league. John asked for our advice. The Mind Your P's and Q's NFL podcast, he asked for our advice on this trade.
He did.
John traded Tariq Cohen and Dante Moncrief to Mitch. In return, he got Marshawn Lynch and Amari Cooper. And I think my advice was it should be somewhat even of a trade, but I wouldn't do it at this point. And I think you said you would do it.
Yeah, I said it would be pretty even, and I would go ahead and do it because trades are fun. So
yeah, but I just think this was a game where that trade haunted him with Tariq Cohen throwing a touchdown against him.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper and Marshawn Lynch have done just absolute nothing for John or anything the entire year, really.
Yeah, really. Can we talk about the fact that I think this actually is in Mitch's realm because Safarian Jenkins got that touchdown overturned.
We'll talk more
and
about that.
We will, but I'm pretty sure Mitch had something to do with it. So that I'm just now realizing.
I feel like there's a cauldron involved and some potions and a book.
A big dusty book.
If you've seen Mitch with a large black hat on at all recently, it's not because it's Halloween. He is some sort of witch or wizard when it comes to fantasy defense.
Does he have lots of brooms in the closet? Who knows? Mitch, I'm tired of it.
You are not a first place team, but
No,
God bless you for it. You burned it.
You wizard.
The last game of fantasy last week, Rob Harrods, welcome to the Dog Pound, loses to the big Gronkowski, Ethan Staniford. Talk about streaking. This guy
this kid's playing.
Was the Chargers of the league the first few weeks, losing every game by 3 points. And now he's crushing opponents. Rob came into the league fresh meat. Here he is. He's coming to say hello. He was 2-0 his first 2 weeks to start off undefeated, and he has a big L4 next to his name right now.
Oh, yeah.
And to make matters worse, his star performer goes out for the season. Aaron Rodgers is out with a broken collarbone.
Didn't even get him 10 points before he left. Nothing.
And let's jump into this before we even do their fantasy recap. Not a dirty hit.
Not even
Anybody
close.
that sits there, all these guys on TV, they're like, that is a ridiculous thing. You shouldn't be able to hit the quarter. The guy is he barely got rid of the ball out of the pocket. He's a runner. If you don't do that, if you just stay away, I can't touch him, he'll pump fake and run for a first down.
Yes, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the better scrambling quarterbacks in the league. So are you seriously going to just I don't want to hit him hard, so I'm just going to kind of push him?
If he doesn't land awkwardly, he's fine. He gets up and nobody says anything. So anybody who says that's a dirty hit, stop listening to us. Stop listening to this podcast and come talk to us right now.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Mark Ingram has a hella day for Rob, and besides that, it is ugly. Yeah. It is ugly. He had a couple decent bench players, but it was not going to be enough to be standing up. From the Facebook page, it looks like Stan's trying to get rid of either Kirk Cousins or Carson Wentz. He's trying to make it. I think he's going back and forth each time and it's difficult seeing who do I play? So kind of like what John was doing earlier with Cam and Dak.
I mean, this is Matt. Matt has to, or I guess even Robert here should go talk to Ethan.
That's a perfect, yes. When your quarterback goes out and Aaron Rodgers, and you could potentially get
Kirk Cousins or Carson Wentz, one of the two.
Make a move.
Seriously. Come on, people.
That'll wrap up our fantasy recap. Ethan Staniford hops up into 8th from down in the bottom of the barrel, and Rob is now in 9th. We've got a lot of 2 and 4 teams now. Interesting fantasy week. You and I are playing our rival MU golfers.
Yes.
And we'll see what Week 7 brings the fantasy breakdown. Before we get into the weekly pick'em, let's hear another word from our sponsors.
Is your ride spooking you out?
Ooh.
Well, I don't want you driving around in that car anymore. Come on down to DeLong Auto Group where you can get yourself into a new car right away. Let's hear from one of our trusted, loyal customers, Dylan Crowsley.
Alright, this car I bought is fucking horse shit. It did not come with a taillight or a goddamn windshield wiper. I'm never shopping here again.
All right. Well, thanks, Dylan. We really appreciate your business. Now, let's just hear from another one of our loyal customers. B. Ain?
Yes, I bought a Corvette recently to compete with one of my nemesis, and he's wondering why I would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
Well, yeah, thanks, Bane. We really appreciate your business as well. Hopefully we'll get you in a car that's even a little bit better. All right, next we want to hear from our last loyal customer, Mr. Gruden, I believe.
I tell you what, man. I bought a conversions van from DeLong Auto Group, and I tell you what, it's nothing short of a grinder. You got my business for life.
Oh, thanks, John. We really appreciate it. Don't know what you're using the van for, but we appreciate it. Once again, come on down to DeLong Auto Group. Don't be scared with the car that you have. We'll get you in a new one faster than ever.
Here at the Minor P's and Q's NFL podcast, we really want to thank our dedicated sponsors, Fall Creek Golf Course, DeLong Auto Group, and the Gruden Fantasy Hotline. We would not have gotten to this point over the last couple years and thousands of podcasts without your trusted sponsorship. So Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's just jump right into the weekly pick'ems. Let's review week 6, where just to start off, we've got Dylan still in the lead at 46 total correct. Then you jump down to Patrick.
Nip it at his heels.
At 43, right there. He's right there, folks. And then Matt surprisingly jumps above me.
Well, not surprisingly after
Not
your performance last week.
We're not going to say surprisingly. But Matt jumps above me to 40, and then I jump down. I'm going to say jump down.
Jump down? It's like...
Yeah. I did that bad this week that I'm jumping down to 39. And then DK's where he should be at 35. So.
Oh my gosh. 35.
I've said that every week. Yes. DK is 11 behind Dylan. So he's got some work to do.
The order is Dylan, Patrick, Matt, Quentin, DK as far as our weekly pick'em payers are concerned. We've got 2 new members last week and now another new member this week to the weekly pick'em.
Absolutely. So last week we had 2 newbies. We had Ethan and Nate. They both got in after our podcast last week, but they did make their picks. And Nate, we're going to say an asterisk?
There's definitely an asterisk.
I would say so.
I don't care if you listen to the podcast or not. He had the ability.
Yes. So Ethan actually put his picks in before I posted the podcast. Now Nate came in afterwards and went ahead and put his picks in after I posted, which I allowed it. We allowed it.
The only reason we feel salty is because you ran train on everybody last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just go through this week's real quick. Nate had 9 correct and 5 wrong. That beat everyone. The next closest was Ethan and Patrick at 7. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I apologize. Matt had 8. So you had Nate at 9, Matt at 8, Patrick and Ethan at 7, Dylan and DK at 6, and then let's move on to next week. And I had 5. So it was a rough week, but we did say at the beginning that this has been a big week of upsets.
There was.
And I don't know what football is anymore. I texted you that this weekend. I literally have no idea what's happening, what's going on. No team is good. No team is bad. Who knows?
It's the NFL.
It's all a crapshoot.
Anybody can win.
Yeah, it's the NFL. Week 7. Let's jump right into it. Patrick has not made his picks like every week.
Never do.
Has not looked at any of the games. So this is all live. We're doing it live.
I do want to say before we start, my sister Megan is getting in on our weekly pick'em. She is probably our number 1 fan as far as listening to this podcast. She
went as far as subscribing to the Quentin Flora YouTube channel, which isn't
Ultimate
really
dedication.
a YouTube channel. Megan, Mad props to you
We
on
thank
that.
you.
Yes.
We thank you for listening.
So she is now in on our pick'em, and she couldn't be more excited, and we couldn't be more excited to have her.
And there's
So-
got to be some nerves here. A girl that watches football half-heartedly, taking
Yes.
multiple naps throughout a Seahawks game, I'm so excited about. And if somebody
Yeah.
gets beat, like if you put 5 wins up this week and she puts like 7 or 8 up and just
Yeah.
a Trump, that's going to be.
Yeah, that's gonna. I mean, I'll probably stop.
You
doing
better
the
take
pick'em.
take this seriously right now.
Yeah, this is for real. And I actually really thought about these picks this week. Like
That's
I
good.
broke
You
them
tried
down.
now after 5 weeks.
I've been trying before. I just really I sat down and thought through these games a little bit more.
That could be
So
bad.
that could be much worse. I could have 2 this week. Hot take. That's gonna be right. That's gonna be the one that's right. All right, let's jump into it. First game. Chiefs at Raiders, Thursday night game.
I don't know what to think
About the
anymore
Raiders?
about the Raiders. The Raiders start off the season 2-0 with they just trounced their opponents twice.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they're just like a lot of our fantasy teams with a big L4 next to
Yeah.
their name.
And you could say that maybe it's because of Derek Carr, but he came back last week and played suspect.
He played
It wasn't
okay,
great.
but I mean, they're giving Marshawn Lynch the ball between like 8 and 13 times a game, or
Yeah.
16 I think he had last week. That was his high in carries. He is not a running back that can just. Adrian Peterson had the same exact thing when he went to the Saints.
Yeah.
First of all, he doesn't do well out of shotgun, Adrian Peterson.
No.
He does well as out of formation, but I digress from him since we're talking about the Raiders. But Marshawn Lynch is the same way, where this guy needs volume carries. He needs between 20 and 25 carries to get going, because there's going to be a lot of those 3
Yes.
2-yard carries, but he's going to bust a 15, 25-yarder every few runs.
It's all about the averages.
Yeah,
on
and
that.
so Marshawn Lynch is not a guy you can just put in for 4 rushes and just, I don't know. I think the Raiders have, because they have so many options, I don't know if they have an identity on offense as far as what they want to do. They've got so many good receivers. They've got 3, I think, very good running backs with a good offensive line. I have no idea why they're doing as poorly as they are.
I don't know.
The only thing I could say negatively about the Chiefs is their offense definitely struggled in the beginning for the first time basically all year against the Steelers last week.
Which,
Great pick, Nate.
yep. Great
But-
pick, Nate. We did call that on the podcast, and that's kind of where this asterisk is coming from, is that,
The one thing you called correctly. Let's mention that one.
yeah,
Quentin.
it was definitely the only thing I called correctly.
But besides just, I think, bad clock management and play calling at the end, not kicking a field goal when you had easy points going for a 4th down, I think they easily would have won the game.
Mhm.
I think they're going to correct those kind of mistakes, and I think I'll take the Chiefs. So I would
Yeah.
assume most people are taking the Chiefs.
Most people are, but we do have a couple Raiders picks. You have DK as a Raiders pick, which is obvious
He's
for
gotta,
everyone.
I mean,
He's
we
trying.
got a lot of weeks left, but you got to work your way back. It's
Yeah,
like
you don't
if
try to. You're not. He's trying to gain it all back in one.
He's
week.
like 500 pounds overweight, and he's gonna starve himself for 3 weeks, hoping that he'll be 150.
Yes, exactly. So the other Raiders pick is actually Ethan. So he actually kind of went out on a couple picks last week. Little odd picks that we thought, and they worked out for him. So far from the
I mean,
sampling, he's.
Just like I said
I
with
can't
the
say anything bad
with the
about him.
Chargers last week, how they beat the Raiders in the AFC West. They're all rivals, obviously being
Yeah.
in the same division, and those games are always close. I think the Raiders have so much more to lose in this game because it's a division game, because they've lost 4 in a row. Like if they don't get it together and they go 2-5, like their chances
Yeah.
of making the playoffs are very slim.
Very.
So I could see the Raiders just coming out and basically playing this like a playoff game because they need to get in. But I think the Chiefs rebound after
That's
kind of their
what-
last 2 performances have been a little lackluster.
Here's the thing, and we'll never know this, but I will say it. If the Chiefs would have won last week, would have beat the Steelers, and come into this game still undefeated, I almost see them tripping up in this game. Because I assumed that they were going to trip up at some point, and we talked about it last week that it was going to be the Steelers. If they would have been undefeated coming into this week, I think the Raiders could just come out and just be pissed off and just beat them up.
And
But,
this
I
is,
mean,
this
that's
is
something
in
we'll never
Oakland,
know, but-
correct?
Yes.
See, that's the only thing I think. Because it's so desperate, because they want to make the playoffs for that city so bad,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very close game, kind of like how once again, the Chiefs playing in prime time.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling it'll be one of those coming down to a field goal on either side of it. I think it'll be a good game, but maybe the game breaker is Kareem breaks a nice 50-yard run for me.
That could be it. Next game. Buccaneers at Bills.
I don't know how long Jameis Winston is out.
It wasn't. I mean, the injury didn't sound like it was as very bad.
Ryan Fitzpatrick came in and played nicely. It wasn't.
He had 27 points in the fourth quarter.
It definitely was not a downgrade.
No. 24 or 27.
I'm going to take the Bills. I think the Bills had a couple rough weeks, but I think they're a solid football team.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be a week if Ryan Fitzpatrick plays. I think he throws a couple interceptions. Two may not be anymore, but last week Micah Hyde, NFL interception leader from the Fostoria, Ohio.
Nice, very nice. Well, this is actually a little surprising to me because I was actually going back and forth on this game because of how well Fitzpatrick played at the end. Across the board, it's Bills. Everyone picked the Bills. So I could see, and this has happened to us multiple times, where across the board we pick somebody, and it just goes the other way.
Yeah.
So I think this could be one of those games where the Buccaneers end up coming out and Fitzpatrick plays well, throws 2 touchdowns, and probably still 2 interceptions, I believe that, but end up winning the game.
Their defense is just such a question mark.
It's a mess, yeah. Because they can come out and play really well and then just lay an egg. So, I don't know. I could see it. I could see the Buccaneers winning that game.
I'm happy we all picked the same team on that one because that could be...
Yeah, that could be either way. Panthers at Bears. Yeah, this is a good
game.
one.
I love this game.
Yeah, I was excited when I saw this one.
Let's just jump on the fact that I picked the Bears last week to win.
You did.
I got on the Trubisky train right on time.
I was at a brewery watching that game and pissed. So pissed.
Oh, because I was talking to you while you were there. And
I'm sitting there texting back and forth to Patrick about this game saying, like, there's no way this has happened.
The Bears tried to give that game away last week.
Multiple times. Per every Bears game
I was
ever.
freaking out. I was like, I wanted to text you when they were up by like 2 touchdowns with 5 minutes left. And I was like, well, maybe not. And then
we shouldn't.
Going to finally win the game there at the end. But
big win last week.
The Panthers, I was in Charlotte. All the people I was with the next day were big Panthers fans, so they were a little depressed about losing to the Eagles last week. But for the majority of that game, the Panthers looked very good on offense, especially
against a very good Eagles team right now.
Yeah. My heart just really wants to pick the Bears. It's more of just like how I picked the Colts, where it's just like I want these guys to win.
Yeah.
It's at Soldier Field.
At Soldier Field. The Mitchell Trubisky train is coming to town.
I think Trubisky will probably have a high in yards this game.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Bears will win. I will pick the Carolina Panthers.
Dang it.
Was it going to be just you and me?
No.
Oh, okay.
But who am I stuck with?
DK?
Yeah.
Oh.
So me and
I don't
DK.
know. I love that. I would, if I was you, I'd be like, I don't even care if I lose this game, just because I want to root for the Bears.
I honestly think that they could. This will be a good game. This will be a good game. Now that I'm saying that it won't be, the Panthers are going to blow them the hell out.
You can't say both now.
I know. I'm not going to say both because I legitimately think this will be a good game, and I think that the Bears will end up winning it. They're going to try to get rid of it. They're just going to try to lose it again at the end. But I think they end up winning this game. And they have 2 back-to-back really good wins.
I want the Bears to win, but I think Carolina is a solid team.
They are a solid team, and I think the Falcons were a solid team too. I thought their offense was really, really good, and they just kind of disappeared a little bit in that Bears game. So, not because of the Bears defense, because the Bears defense is they don't have anybody.
The Panthers might be a little beat up from playing the Falcons in that knockdown, drag-out Thursday night game, but I think the Panthers will come out on top, but I really wish the Bears would win it.
Yeah. So, we have our next game. Titans at Browns.
Well, there were 2 times this year I went alone with the Browns.
Yep.
And that was basically like going alone to a high school dance. Just not a good feeling. Marcus Mariota, I mean, I didn't talk much about that. We didn't even address the fact that the Titans were the ones that played the Colts.
I had nothing to do with them. No.
Marcus Mariota, they showed it several times yesterday. He did not move around the entire game.
Did you see the one play where he did get outside the pocket and literally no one was around, slid before the line of scrimmage? Yeah. I was shocked. I was shocked by that. I mean, I get it that you're hurt and you don't want to hurt yourself more. That's very smart. But is it, like, overly cautious?
I don't know. I think this is... I can see this being the one that the Browns win. I can just see it happening, but I won't do it. I won't pick them. I won't pick the Tennessee Titans.
Well, if you would have picked the Browns, you would not have been alone.
Oh, I smell it, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Smells like a DK DeLong pick.
It is a DK DeLong pick. Wow. I wish I could get an explanation on that one.
He's in last place by 12 games.
I guess it goes back to he is 500 pounds and trying to get to that 150 because now he is almost alone on the Raiders, almost alone on the Bears with me. That's it, and now alone with the Browns. We're 4 picks in, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, heads up. Here we go.
Put on your helmet.
Next game. Let's just keep going. Let's keep flowing through. Saints at Packers.
And DK picks Saints
the Canadian squad of
Saints at Packers. This is really interesting because I watched the majority of the game where Brett Huntley came in and played in Aaron Rodgers' absence, and he did not look very good.
No, and they were absolutely dead set on sticking with him.
And even in his press conference after the game, I was kind of like, I don't trust you more after listening to you. I'm not excited about you.
I mean, this is his 3rd year in the NFL now.
Yeah, he went to UCLA, had a good collegiate career, but
and he's just been sitting behind Rodgers, which everyone obviously is like, he's the new Rodgers.
Right.
And I don't
think he'll be better. See that. I think he'll be better because he's taking first team snaps. But he's going to make some of the Brett Huntley mistakes. He's going to throw a comeback route to the sideline that gets picked off like he did last week.
He threw some really bad interceptions at really, really bad moments.
Yeah, but he also scrambled a few times and threw a touchdown. I think he'll be better because he's with the first string this week, and he's not just... You got to think majority of the time. I know if you're a second-string quarterback, you got to prepare to be actually in the game, but you're playing behind Aaron Rodgers. You're just thinking, like, this is going to be a long career here.
I'm loving this bench. This
Saints team is the definition of Jekyll and Hyde. They have had... Here's why you can't trust... This is why I'm not just immediately going Saints, even with Aaron Rodgers out. Mm-hmm. Here's the reason why. They get up by 35 points to the Lions.
Yeah. And piss it away.
And just almost let him walk back into the game. I get it, Matthew Stafford is like, that's where his prime is at, like being down 20 plus. Like, I can start playing now.
Oh, yeah. But this is my wheelhouse.
But as a defensive unit, even if you have Brett Huntley, you still got Ty Montgomery, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Bennett. I mean...
And the defense, the Packers' defense is still pretty good.
It's okay. It's not... I wouldn't say it's good. I'd say it's okay. But the Saints' defense is the real issue. Being able to let a team come back like that, I think... Unless people don't know as much as I think they do in our pick'em, I'm going to take the Packers in hopes that they are at home. Huntley gets the first team snaps. My heart of hearts, I think the Saints will win just because Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. But I just have a feeling that it'll be a momentum starter for Brett Huntley, and he'll get the win.
Okay, well, you're alone on that one.
I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, I was. That pick.
I mean, that is. I kind of picked the Saints right away just because. It's just how many question marks are on the Packers now. Mm-hmm. With Aaron Rodgers being out, there are a lot of weapons on that offense. So I could see them rallying around Huntley and just making a win kind of come out of nowhere. But if Drew Brees does what he did last week and throws up 52 points, which Drew Brees really didn't do that.
It was their special teams and defense, really.
So, I mean, if their defense and everything, I don't know. If they play like at all they did last week, I don't see Huntley making a charge back like Stafford did. That was my decision factor right there.
My odd X factor in this game, I think the X factor is Alvin Kamara. That guy has come in as the second string running back behind Mark Ingram and just played very well. So I think Brett Huntley will play okay. I think their offense will be okay. I think the Green Bay defense will be okay. It's going to be about if those guys on the Saints offense make a couple extra plays, but I am so happy to be by myself with the Packers.
That's really actually a great thing to do. All right, so jumping into the next game. Big game here. Jaguars at Colts. Big game for us Indy fans.
This Jaguars team still has every time I'm a game late with them. Every time I pick against them, they put up tons of points, play great defense, and then I'm like, okay, the next week I pick them, and they're like, nah, we're not really gonna play. But Leonard Fournette getting injured changes the game a little bit.
It's huge because the Colts have been a very good run-stopping defense this year. Not very good. I'm not. Yeah. Let's jump back a bit. I'll retract my statement there. Easy, Colts fan. Their run-stopping has been much better than it has been in the past, and that's not saying a lot when you just think of that statement. But looking at the stats, their run defense is actually pretty good this year.
I think every game in the AFC South that excludes the Texans is a complete toss-up. With Tennessee, 100%. Colts, Jaguars, you throw them in a bag, you shake them up, and you pull a winner out. And you
find, yeah.
I'd love to pick the Colts because I really enjoy rooting for them, but the horrible coaching that I saw again. I mean, I was texting you what play they were going to run before they even ran.
Oh, yeah.
And
the rollout by
they even had they were on fourth down, they do a play action rollout with Brissett and don't even give him a person to throw it to. Or they kind of did, but
they kind of did, but it looked like he was more like he was blocking than anything.
And throwing it to Jack Doyle was a real
that's a crapshoot.
He was still concussed from 2 weeks ago against the Seahawks.
Jack Doyle,
he got T-Rex arms.
It's unbelievable. I've never seen him. Now that was the first those two games he missed. He missed 2 games. It's the first time he's ever missed games. So I don't know if that played into it. Is something now he's coming back and he's just not the same guy. Because that's obvious.
Well,
he's
I
not
said to you on the
guy.
phone. It's like he had the yips. Like he was thinking about the catch so much he wasn't just catching the ball.
Yeah, unbelievable.
No, fuck it. I'll take the Colts.
I love to hear that. Split straight down the middle.
That's
actually
unsettling.
So so Matt, Patrick, myself, obviously, and DK picked the Colts. Dylan and our newbies, Ethan, Nate, and Megan, all picked the Jaguars.
I probably think the Jaguars will win.
I mean,
Colts always play
pretty
better
shocked.
at home, though.
Very yeah. Pretty shocked. Yeah, like every other team in the world.
Well, not necessarily. The Saints had a losing record at home
true.
and then a better winning record away. So,
Matt and DK. I'm actually pretty surprised they picked the Colts.
I'm not, because the Colts are definitely underdogs in this game, so they're
trying to come back.
Yep.
All right, I can see that. Yeah, DK's pick makes sense, but Matt, I was actually a little bit surprised by that. I would love to hear his reasoning.
Picked your team for like the first time he's picked one of our teams. Just wait.
That's what's shocking. So, all right, Matt. Next game, Cardinals at Rams.
I told you this last week. The Rams are just as good as I think they are, and you did not want to believe me.
I did not want to believe you at all. Not at all.
I think the Cardinals will show signs of life again. And I think Adrian Peterson is a great pickup for that team because they need that kind of versatile running back. He kind of fills in for David Johnson. Not as good a pass catcher, nowhere near.
No.
But he's a very, very good player.
He's in the right place.
I really needed the Jaguars to come through for me last week and get that win for our division, but they just could not do it. It's an NFC West knockdown, drag them out. We'll see what happens, but I have a feeling the Cardinals will win. But
I almost typed that C.
I will be picking the Rams because
all right.
And they're at home, right?
Cardinals at Rams.
Yeah, I'll take the Rams.
Okay. That's actually, you have Matt, yourself, DK, Nate, and Megan with the Rams. So me, Dylan, and Ethan with the Cardinals. I like that crew that I'm with. I like the crew that I'm sitting there with. Not that I have anything against the rest of you guys. But Dylan's in the lead.
You have a weird thing against the Rams.
I do, because I just feel like they're going to turn into the old Rams and lose every game.
They're different. Sean McVay has changed the game there.
I agree. But I mostly picked this because of the now wonderful, wonderful trio of offensive players at the Cardinals. You have Carson Palmer, you got Larry Fitzgerald, and Adrian Peterson, a combined age of 220 years.
A combined hearing aids of 6.
Oh, I had one note from that game, and it was AP having himself a game at the Arizona nursing home. Wonderful game.
But I did call it. I'm going to say he was going to come in with his switch and get the win last week.
He did?
And he switched his way to 136
Don't you
yards.
dare think he comes to a game without a switch. You heard it here first, and probably the only place.
But they're also going to be playing a much better run-stuffing defense against the Rams next week. So I think it'll...
Yep.
I don't think Adrian Peterson is washed up. That's why I put a waiver in for him.
Yep.
I think he's going to have a lot of solid games. And he feels great about his first performance because he's out of New Orleans. It was a win-win for both of them. He didn't fit there, and he needed to be somewhere else. And that's why I said last week when I picked the Cardinals, I think Bruce Arians is smart enough to get him in I formations, get him in situations where he can succeed.
Yes.
Sean Payton was not willing to change their offense. I don't think he's going to have
He's not
tons
going to
of
160 yards.
Because if you look at what he did, if you look at what he did, it was like his first 6 carries, he had 54 yards and a touchdown, and after that, he had 80 yards on like 20 carries or whatever. It's really he didn't play that great after.
It wasn't like a 4 full quarters of him just running all over the team. Like,
but he doesn't need to be that. He doesn't need to be the AP from the Vikings where he gets the ball 28 times and rushes
he
for
needs to be a
180
threat of some kind.
Exactly.
Because that is exactly what they didn't have beforehand. Yeah. Since David Johnson, yeah.
So I'm confident in the Rams pick. I like picking them.
Okay. Jets at Dolphins.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. This
Jets putting up a great performance against the Patriots. Honestly, DK scared all of us with that pick, thinking he was going to get that one. The Dolphins somehow get a win last week.
The Dolphins keep looking better and better.
They did not look good. They still did not look good.
But they're looking better and better.
What does that mean?
Well, they're not. They made some big changes on that defense. They kind of got rid of the big names. Now I'm getting this information directly from my Dolphins insider, right? One of my friends, Alex. He's the only person that knows as much about the Dolphins that I could ever talk to. So he's telling me that a lot of the defensive guys, those big name defensive guys that they went out and picked up, that they sat them. They benched them and brought in these newer, fresher guys, and they're going out to play hard. So that, to me, is huge.
Their defense played well, but let's remember that you have Jay Cutler at quarterback.
Who can sling the ball.
Oh, he had, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns last week?
Something like that. But my biggest problem is with that team. Now, go ahead, because I'm gonna look up a stat real quick.
I know he had 1 touchdown to Jarvis, maybe 2 touchdowns to Jarvis Landry, but they were just not consistent. What did they win, 17-10 last week?
Yeah, it's been all low scoring games for them when they lose or win.
I think your defense, because we see this with the Seahawks all the time, your defense can only hold on for so long in this league because it's a pass heavy league.
Yeah.
Jay Ajayi ran all over that team last. That's the only reason they won. Was Jay Ajayi the only reason they won? I just 100%. Don't see them being. I love picking them because a lot of people don't like to pick them. And 2 weeks ago I got a win, maybe by myself with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But the Jets have looked. The Jets, as much as we talk crap about them, week 1 through 6, they have looked good on offense and defense, and not great, not awesome, just solid.
But compared to the Jets,
yeah,
they look pretty good. And I agree, picking the Dolphins is tough because you can always have Jay Cutler come out and throw 9 for 70 with 100 yards and 4 interceptions. He can do that at any moment.
Yeah, and then I also feel like there's a chance that Jay Cutler is like, okay, I've warmed up now since I have been just eating Cheetos on the couch the entire offseason, and comes out and throws for 250 and 3 touchdowns next week.
The biggest problem is they have Jarvis Landry, who they did get into that game more than what they've had. But you have Kenny Stills, who is one of the faster guys in the league, for sure. And they are not throwing the ball downfield to him.
Well, they're not. They're also not getting Devontae Parker involved either. I mean,
no,
those are three good receivers.
Yeah, that's what blows my mind. Is you got Jay Ajayi in the backfield, who is a good running back for sure. Obviously, you showed that last week. But why are you not getting these 3 receivers who are good receivers? They're not they're not Julio Jones, they're not Antonio Brown, but they're 3 good receivers by themselves. Get them in the open and have Jay Cutler, the cannon of an arm that he has, throw it to Kenny Stills 57 yards down the field.
I think they don't want to turn the ball over, and I think this actually might
you can't
be,
play afraid
but
at this point.
I think this might be a smart move by Adam Gase because they're kind of going the same route as the Bears, where they're gonna run it.
Look for the defense.
Okay, highlight reel.
Ryan.
They're gonna run the ball almost 40 times a game to Ajayi and their other running back, and that's gonna keep them in the game the majority of the time, and they're gonna pass when they need to, but. It's just like what the Bears are doing. They're handing it off to Jordan Howard. They're handing it off to Tariq Cohen, and they're throwing when they need to. If that keeps the game close and they don't turn the ball over,
yeah. I mean, if you win the turnover battle, you have a much higher chance.
I think
to win
this is
the game.
going to be actually a fun game to watch.
It would, yeah, absolutely. So your pick is
I still don't know.
After all that, Jets and Dolphins.
Here's the thing about the Dolphins. Let's get back into it. The Dolphins are finding ways to win, whereas the Jets, I mean, they're 3-3 now. They've found ways to win a few times, but I want to pick the Dolphins really bad. And just like last week, I said I want to take the Dolphins on a flyer. I said it. I said I want to take them on a flyer. I'm going to take the Jets just because I feel like they're probably the safe pick here.
Okay. Well, split right down the middle. And we can say that now because we actually have 8 people. Matt, Patrick, Dylan, and Megan with the Jets. Safe pick, I agree. I think Dolphins are probably going to be a little bit more of the underdog here, which is weird to say against the Jets, by the way. Weird.
Yeah.
But myself, DK, Ethan, and Nate have the Dolphins.
This is a complete toss-up. That's why I had so much trouble with it. So
it is. I mean, you said it. I think that game is
I
going to be
never
really
thought
good.
we would spend this much time on the Jets and
Jets
Dolphins.
and Dolphins, but like, hey,
that's interesting.
It's who's fighting for second in that
In that
AFC,
division.
in that division, not second in the league.
I'm like, who's
But-
jumping up?
Ravens at Vikings next game.
Last week I asked for the Ravens to show me their identification because I don't understand them in the slightest.
And they're wishing they would have.
Who were they playing? I just saw red after I heard Ravens.
Ravens at Vikings.
I'll pick the Vikings. Their defense is, I think I said top 8 last week. I will say they have a top 5 defense. They have a
Vikings.
very good defense.
Agreed.
And I think that's going to be them. I think Alex Collins, Buck Allen, those guys have continued to run the ball pretty well. But Joe Flacco is an abomination. Okay, I'll say it. He can make some throws. He led a team to a Super Bowl with a murderous middle linebacker at his side. But I can't buy into I'll put him on the Jay Cutler level for me where I trust you. I'll trust you as far as I can throw you, and I'm not that strong. I'll tell you that. So I'll definitely pick against the Ravens.
Okay. Matt, Patrick, Dylan, DK, Ethan, Nate, and Megan picked the Vikings.
That means
That means I went alone with the Ravens. Now, the reason for this,
I'm looking forward to Hoobastank. Give me the reason.
the one and only reason is because they just got beat up by the Bears. Not beat up because that was a good game, but they just got beat by a bad Bears team. I think now the Ravens show their other side now.
Gosh.
They've been switching back and forth
Just like the
all
Jaguars.
year.
Just
Exactly.
like the Jaguars.
And I think this is one of those games where they switch back and they win it.
I mean,
The Vikings have a very good defense. That's what held me up. Is the Vikings just look amazing on defense right now, and that scares me because of Joe Flacco. But I went solely on the big gut feeling that I have of that they're going to switch back to the good Ravens.
And even with Dalvin Cook out, McKinnon has shown to be a very good replacement. So
This game I expect to lose. I expect to lose this game.
Gotta take
but
your Flyers,
I got to
though.
take my Flyers somewhere, and that's my game right there. Because the Ravens have been who the hell knows. So, Bengals at Steelers.
this is another one of those. What is going on? The Bengals have a bye week last week.
Yes.
Okay, Steelers, like we said, took took Chiefs from undefeated into 1 loss. But now we've got the Bengals coming off their bye week, and they have really shown two sides of them too. They beat the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. They have lost close games. They've gotten blown out. I have a tough time seeing the Bengals win this game, to be honest with you. Andy Dalton, there's just not a chance.
I don't see it either. I think the Steelers kind of had their bad loss already, and if they were to lose this game, that would be another bad loss, and I don't think that happens again.
I think that the Steelers can win this game just by giving Lev Bell the ball 30 times again and just saying go.
I agree. Who's your pick, Bengals or Steelers?
I will be taking the Steelers.
Okay. You will be the only person picking the Steelers. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone picked the Steelers on that one. Cowboys at 49ers next game.
49. Like I said last week, 49ers were jonesing for a win. I told you they were going to be close against the Redskins.
I absolutely, that was one of those that I was very wrong on. I thought the Redskins were going to blow them out.
I believe it came out that Ezekiel will be able to play in this game.
Yes.
So I will be taking the Cowboys.
Okay. 49ers, you're going to go 0-7. But that's Cowboys across the board, again, because it's the 49ers.
Right.
Seahawks at Giants.
Don't even need to ask me this. We've been through
Got
this.
it.
Now, if Matt picked the Giants, I am going to have a real problem with him.
He did not.
Okay.
Seahawks across the board.
Okay.
So the last 3 games, boring. Because it's the Giants. So next game, you got Broncos at Chargers.
I'm going to say fuck it. I'm picking the Chargers. I'm not even going to ask for stats or anything. I'm just saying I think they turned a little corner. They lost so many tight games at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And Trevor Siemian, I don't think he's the answer for them.
I don't think so either. I don't think he's that. I really don't.
Their defense is elite. Their defense is elite. I'll say it.
They haven't gone down much since their Super Bowl win with Peyton.
No.
Because that defense was incredible. So it's not that good, but it's still real good.
We actually had Demaryius Thomas sighting last week. He actually had a very good game. C.J. Anderson still holding strong for you. But Trevor Siemian, when they had the battle with him and Paxton Lynch, now they picked up Brock Osweiler. I just don't think Trevor Siemian is your long-term quarterback.
Well, obviously they don't think so either because they're just reaching for anything right now. And if they're picking up Brock Osweiler, they obviously have zero faith. So who knows? But actually, surprisingly, your Chargers pick is in the majority, and you have Matt, yourself, myself, DK, and Megan with the Chargers.
So who picked?
Yeah, Dylan with the Broncos, Ethan with the Broncos, and Nate with the Broncos.
And that makes sense because they're a solid veteran team that could come back and just regroup after their loss. But I kind of like the Chargers as one of those.
Yeah, I honestly thought that the Chargers would be more of an. I mean, they are the underdog in this game. They have to be. But
playing in the high school cafeteria that they play in
the Mile High Stadium. No, they're playing in Los Angeles in all 20 seats that they have in the stadium.
They're going on right after a high school play.
Hopefully some people stick around.
Outdoor Shakespeare. Moving on, Melvin Gordon playing the role of Othello.
You don't have to do that anymore. We're just going to play football. Oh, okay. Falcons at Patriots next game.
I'm going to take the Falcons in a rebound win over the Patriots. And I hope not a lot of people thought that because the Patriots have been spotty, but I really like the Falcons in this game because the defense is so bad for the Patriots.
Bad. They're so bad. I think any team
can
beat the Patriots.
Should have beaten them.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Any team right now can beat the Patriots. Maybe not any team, but there's a lot of teams out there that can beat the Patriots.
Yeah, we were definitely putting the Giants and the 49ers aside when we said any team could beat them.
Absolutely. We're putting all the teams that are in the 30 ranking out, which Colts aren't there. No, Colts aren't there.
No, they're fine.
No, we're fine. We're fine. So you have Matt, Patrick, and Quentin, the Falcons.
I love that.
Yes.
Fuck the Patriots.
Fuck the Patriots. Everyone else, Dylan, DK, Ethan, Nate, and Megan, picked the Patriots. Fuck them.
Good for them.
Get out of here. No way. Redskins at Eagles. This will be a good game.
Which, is this Monday night?
Monday night.
Dang
The Falcons at Patriots.
You didn't tell me Sunday night. Let's do Carrie Underwood.
I'm sorry. Falcons at Patriots is Sunday night game.
Nope.
Well,
It already happened.
Sunday.
It already happened.
I'm sorry.
Monday Night Football. What's the game?
Redskins
Screw
at
the
Eagles.
podcast. This is the battle of Ethan Stanifer's quarterbacks, Carson Wentz and Kirk Cousins. Redskins had a bye last week. Incorrect?
I don't think that's
incorrect. It was incorrect. They won, though, didn't they?
Let me look back. Hold on. Yeah, it was at 49ers at Redskins.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They almost
lost, yeah.
I think the Eagles are the clear-cut best team in that division right now, which is weird to say because I think Dallas is very close second, and I think Redskins are third. But I think the Redskins steal a game here. I think the Redskins steal this one.
You're actually not alone. But
you
only have
not alone.
You have one friend, and that is Matt. You and Matt.
I only have one friend.
Oh, no. You and Matt are the only ones picking the Redskins. I'm going Eagles, and I'm flying high with those Eagles because Carson Wentz and that defense look good.
It's so hard, too, because I have two Eagles on my team.
Yeah.
It's just such a glass case of emotion figuring out looking at blunt scores or not.
I think that if the Eagles keep playing the way they are, you're going to have that Ezekiel Elliott suspension come through when that judge comes back from vacation, obviously, because that's most important. Not him beating people. Whatever. When that suspension comes through towards the end of the year, in the biggest part of the year, the Eagles may win this division.
I think they will win the division. I think this is one where Kirk Cousins, you like that?
I don't.
Comes through.
I don't, Kirk. Stop yelling at me. All right. That was a game.
That's Kirk Cousins having sex. You like that? No, please
no,
stop it. That's so horrible. I did not make a Cam Newton mental retardation joke this week, though. So
yeah, thank goodness.
Give me a pass.
But you can pretty much do anything you want towards Cam Newton now. He's been in the hot seat.
Yeah, it's been a little smoky.
Yep. All right, guys. That was week 7. We are very excited to have Ethan, Nate, and Megan in on this now.
Join the pick'em. Anybody else?
Once
again, get involved. Get involved.
Yeah. Love it.
Oh, this will bring us to Suck It John segments. I will take the lead on this one, Quentin.
Go for it.
My Suck It John will be the officiating. I'm going to have 2 Suck It Johns. They're both going to be brief.
Okay.
My first Suck It John is the Austin Seferian-Jenkins catch/non-catch reviewable, overturned. Everybody.
Mitch.
Yeah, okay. Mitch. You're listening. We hate you. That's my first thing I want to say. So anybody that didn't see this highlight, the Jets are down by 10, I believe, against the Patriots at the time. Throw a ball, Seferian-Jenkins catches it, is running towards the end zone, and he gets hit and bobbles the ball in midair, and then regains possession, looks like, goes down in the corner of the end zone / out of bounds while getting tackled by 3 Patriots players.
But in the end zone.
Right. Ruling on the field is a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously reviewed because it is a scoring play. So, long story short, the NFL referees and whoever, some bimbo in New York.
Some crazy cokehead in New York.
They overturn this and say it is not a touchdown. Now, if you watch the video, he clearly loses possession as he's going to the ground when he gets hit because he's already made a catch. It's not one of the process of a catch rules. He's already has possession. He's a runner of the football. He fumbles it. But on the way down, he grabs the ball and gets enclosed basically by 3 Patriots players while he goes down towards the pylon / out of bounds corner of the end zone. So there's no real video evidence that clearly shows that he did not regain possession.
Which is the specific rule. You have to see that to overturn it.
Exactly. So the ruling on the field must stand because you cannot confirm either way.
Yeah.
In this instance, I think the refs had the right interpretation of the rule in seeing that it was a loose ball, and they can't confirm that he regained possession of the ball.
Yeah. Which
I totally agree with. So if the call on the field would have been a fumble in the end zone touchback, Patriots ball, I would have agreed with it. But the call on the field was that he had possession. So they could not. There's no way in hell they could have ever gone back and said, we can look through 3 different bodies and X-ray vision see that the ball still is not he does not have possession of it.
Absolute horseshit.
I think it was a horrible representation of why we do replay and what we can possibly do with replay. And suck it, John, to the referees that did this.
Yeah.
Because they completely dropped the ball. The NFL completely dropped the ball on this. If you want to change the rule of the NFL and you want to say, anytime something is reviewed, the ruling on the field means nothing, and we're just going to go strictly off the replay and then make a decision, then make that change before. But you can't just change. I mean, and Dean Blandino, former head of the referees last year, came through and said, yeah, I know the NFL referees came out this week and said they totally stand by it and everything. But he said even if we messed up a call, we were not going to ever say that it was wrong.
Yeah, why would they? Absolutely not.
I don't think that has any credence to it. I just think that was a ridiculous. And somehow it works out for the Patriots.
It played a huge, and no one likes that. That's what made this huge too. Is that no one likes it when things fall into the Patriots' hands like that.
And the Patriots win the game by 7 points. I mean, that was the deciding factor.
Yeah.
So that's my first suck it, John. My second John, I'll do really fast, is 3 coaching units I want to call out this week.
Yeah.
Chuck Pagano and the Colts.
Please.
Dan Quinn and the Atlanta Falcons. And Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. First, I'll go Colts. Colts, we kind of already got into it. The play calling is atrocious.
It's just awful. Truly awful.
Make sure your guy has someone to throw to. Manage your clock. They reviewed and lost a timeout where he was clearly out of. It was like it wasn't even close.
No. It was like they were trying to do the review so that the guys could have a water break.
And you have use of the 2-minute warning. The Colts at that last drive. The Titans could have gotten a first down, and they still would have had three timeouts because they had the 2-minute warning. It wasn't like, if they get a first down, the game's over.
No, it wasn't like that at all.
So I have a huge problem with the Colts.
Yeah.
Second is Dan Quinn and the Atlanta Falcons losing that game. So obviously we know that the Falcons fucked up in the Super Bowl last year. There's no reason the Patriots ever should have been able to come back. My real beef with them is they are down by 3 points last week. They get the ball and drive all the way down to the field to like the 30-yard line. And all they need to do is kick a field goal. There's like a minute left and they have their timeouts. And Matt Ryan throws a line drive into traffic that gets picked off.
A horrible throw.
Now, as bad as that is, I think it's a bad decision because you can't take a chance of that getting batted around. You got to take the points. If you get a wide open touchdown, throw it. But if not, get your field goal and get out of there. Dan Quinn came to the press conference after that and said, we had every intention of going down the field and scoring. We weren't just going to settle for a field goal. Have you learned nothing from last year?
It's unbelievable.
Again, you did not run the ball once on that drive. Devontae Freeman, you paid him a $54 million contract. The man had 9 carries for 68 yards. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry.
You're just wasting money. That's like going and buying groceries and then throwing them in the dumpster right away.
The final team, the Kansas City Chiefs, lose to the Steelers, and part and parcel because of not taking a field goal from 15 yards out.
Idiot.
And they did get the ball back again and got a touchdown, but that game would not have the game would have been over. They would have won if they took the points when they had them. Take the points when they're on their board.
Take the points when you can get them.
I do not understand
it's NFL.
The idiocy between these coaches. Yeah. So those are my 2 second Johns. I'm not even too riled up. It's more just disappointment this week.
So mine's gonna be actually very quick because I'm purely shocked by this that it's still going on in this world in 2017. This is still going on. My Suck It John's segment is all about cologne commercials. Men's cologne commercial. Yeah, this has nothing to do with the NFL. Other than the fact that I saw a couple of the commercials this weekend. What's going on in those commercials? No one knows. There's guys swimming. There's men, very hot men, because they have 6-packs and everything that no one knows.
Give me an example of what's riling you up so I can be informed here.
I don't know the name of any of these because it's Dijon Bleu, whatever
you mean like the fancy cologne.
The fancy cologne. I'm not talking about no. I'm not talking about the Old Spice, the whole Von Miller stuff that he's doing. That's weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going on with it, and But no, I'm talking
so
specifically
like
Polo,
about Ralph Lauren,
the non-speaking, the total. There's no words in it. It's just some guy looking up into the sky with a fan blowing in his face, riding a horse shirtless because he's got a 10-pack. And then all of a sudden he jumps from this horse into the ocean, is now swimming through the ocean, goes down, grabs a clam the size of his head, throws it, frisbees it out, and then all of a sudden Cologne pops up on the screen and says, Dijon Bleu. And then that's the end. What the fuck is going on? What marketing team was like, yep, we've done it. This is the one. Like, there's stuff that they come up with that then they go, nope, that's not good enough, but this one is. Mm-hmm. There's stuff that they don't show you that's bad, that they think is bad, so that then they scrap that and then play this. I went to school for marketing, and I'm not in the professional business of marketing right now. Like, I don't do any type of advertisements, and I know who are you marketing to? What is your demographic? People who are shirtless and ride horseback all the time?
And then dive into the ocean.
All three of those guys are like, well, I do that, Fabio. So I have to get those.
So yeah. Fabio.
Yeah, the one guy. Who has ever, here's a public service announcement. If you have bought cologne because you think that the commercials were cool, or because you think, hey, this cologne is for me, and I know that from this commercial, I want you to go ahead and text me. Go ahead and call me. 260-530-6391. Give me a call at any point. I want to know. Okay? This is my Suck It John statement. Make these commercials stop. Make them stop. I don't care, Von Miller. Keep having a blast. Do whatever you're doing. Digging holes. Riling your locker room up. I don't care. Whatever it is. I don't know what those Old Spice commercials do. So, suck it, John.
So related to football, but
anyway. Yes, very.
That is our Suck It, John segment, per usual. If anybody has any ideas for new segments, I know Ethan Stanifer gave me the idea of maybe doing a fantasy kind of breakdown for the week coming up, saying me, Quentin, and I quickly going through and saying, we think this team's going to beat that team. We may incorporate that here shortly. But if anybody has any ideas for things we can add or things we can take out, whatever you guys want to hear, let us know. Should be a ton of interesting games this weekend, and may the odds be in your favor in fantasy.
We'd also really like to have some guests on the show. We've said this a couple times, but we're really looking for some guests on the show, and have you guys just call in. You don't have to actually be with us where we are. We can have you call in, and it'll be a good time to just grab some second opinions, third opinions, I guess.
Mm-hmm. All right. Have a good week, guys.
Thanks, guys.